Nigeria's former president, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, is challenging Nigerian youth to take the destiny of the country in their hands by building platforms to counter divisive behaviors and promote national cohesion. Chief Obasanjo told a select group of Nigerian youth attending a leadership conference in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, that they should always demand for good governance, development, transparency and accountability from their leaders. The issues of ethnic conflict, violence between herders and farmers, hate speeches and Nigeria's diversity again come on the front burner. The gathering brings together youth from across the country, and they're being mentored and encouraged by the older generation of leaders to effect a better narrative for the country in the wake of daunting challenges. The General Secretary of the Women's Rights Advancement and Protection Alternative, Saudatu Mahdi, opens the ground for discussions.
We have failed to bring closure to our conflicts. As such, they remain and they will keep metamorphosing into new and bigger conflicts until probably, God forbid, as our president will always say, it consumes us.
Former President Olusegun Obasanjo is one of the leaders from the older generation invited to speak on the transformation agenda, and he says the country's eventual past must continue to serve as a guide for its future.
We don't need to be divided. We don't need to be stratified. We are diverse, yes. That is the beauty of nature. Our diversity should lead to unity.
Participants believe that ensuring and promoting national cohesion requires that of all Nigerians, irrespective of tribes and religious affiliations.
This is a dialogue between the past and the future, so you will see quite a good number of senior Nigerians, including President Obasanjo, who's been around for quite a while, speaking with this audience, and part of it is giving them the benefit of his own thinking, of his own experience, of his own expertise, of what he has seen. Because the Obasanjos will not always be here with us. No human being lives forever. But by being able to transmit those in a structured format to a younger generation, you guarantee that you plant something that over time hopefully will yield more.
They hope that their suggestions will help put an end to several issues threatening the country's unity and give Nigerian youth the right direction to always place national interest above self. In the meantime, someone isn't happy with the recent political interventions and comments by the former President Obasanjo, and that is Nobel laureate Wole Soyinka. He believes that Nigerians should not be quick to forget the roles played by Chief Obasanjo, both as military leader and two-time president. He was speaking at the International Press Institute IPI World Congress Gala Night, where he was asked to speak on his supposed hatred for Mr. Obasanjo and a former military head of state, Sani Abacha.
As for Obasanjo, I have news for him. I believe Obasanjo has really crossed the red line because he's trying to put himself at the head of a recovery process. He's trying to hijack a recovery process in this nation, and I say that he's one of the least worthy of former heads of state to lead that kind of movement. We confront Obasanjo with crimes of the past, which, incidentally, are not being newly articulated. But this nation forgets very, very fast. No sooner does one come out with some kind of bravura kind of criticism than everybody starts ailing in his ire. So I say again, very often the people are their own greatest enemies.
In other stories, hundreds of shanties and illegal structures in and around Oko-Oba, abattoir and the LASG complex in the Agege area of Lagos State have been demolished as part of efforts to improve its operations. According to the Lagos State Commissioner for Agriculture, the cleanup will also clear shanties and illegal structures along Fagba railway section of the abattoir complex. The goal is to improve the hygienic condition of the complex and ensure best practices in the red meat value chain. The cleanup is not limited to the Agege abattoir complex and will spread to other slaughter slabs across the state.
The Niger Delta represents a haven of investment opportunities, albeit faced with big challenges. This was the view of the British High Commissioner to Nigeria, Ambassador Paul Alcry, during an interactive presentation on the business opportunities and challenges in the Niger Delta. Our correspondent Emmanuel Ere reports.
Beyond just showing interest in economic opportunities in the Niger Delta and Nigeria, the British government, through its High Commission, is engaging government officials, the business community and youths from the region in Port Harcourt, River State. Besides seeking ways to increase British investment and business support, the country's High Commissioner to Nigeria and the River State Deputy Governor explains some of the issues.
One of the key reasons for the instability in the region is the high levels of poverty generated through a lack of opportunity. The region suffers from unemployment created through environmental damage, which destroys livelihoods. That environmental damage has been created through oil spills and illegal oil theft, and everyone has a role in preventing further damage.
Even though the oil-rich region is the source of 70% of Nigeria's foreign exchange earnings, over 70% is responsible for 80% of Nigeria's foreign exchange earnings. Over 70% of the population in the region live on an average of less than $2 a day.
Participants at this interactive meeting also raised issues for discussions before the panel.
Port Harcourt is the only city in this part of the country, in fact in this part of Africa, where it was conceived around commerce. That's why it's called the Port of Harcourt. Most of us might not have taken our time to really get to know where this name Port Harcourt came from. It's conceived as the city that was built to drive investment in this part of Africa.
The systemic problems which the previous speaker spoke about, I think, are ones which do need to be addressed. I'm very pleased that commissioners are here to listen to that as well, and we're here to help with that.
Well, it has been an interesting conversation on identifying and leveraging on business opportunities in the Niger Delta. Perhaps what is left is to deal with the systemic challenges and create a conducive environment for these business ideas to thrive in the region. Emmanuel Ere, Channels Television News.
The Consumer Protection Council, CPC, has sealed off several rice stores in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State after traders were found to be engaging in sharp practices, including illegal rebagging and sale of contaminated rice. The Director General of the Council says the raid is part of the Council's efforts to save the public from the danger of consuming unsafe food items.
A combined team of the Nigeria Customs Service, the police and officers of the Consumer Protection Council on a raid of rice sellers' outlets along Nyong Essen Street in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State, where alleged rebagged contaminated rice are on display for sale.
And part of what we've seen here, we've seen generators and we've seen sealing machines and sewing machines for bagging illegitimate products and selling in the market. What is more interesting is that you can see that some of these bags belong to known producers. And this is a very sad day for consumers, in the sense that here we are in the front of the market seeing these products and people are buying them, not knowing that right behind these shops is an illegal enterprise for bagging rice.
About 5 truckloads of the products were seized, with 7 suspects arrested.
So far as you are selling rice in this line, you are involved of this other parts. Like the Akbrandem Itam market, they are into this business.
When did you start doing
this? It's only when I came into this Akwa Ibom State.
When?
2013.
I am not the owner of the business. I just come for a visit for here.
It's my brother that is doing the business.
The alleged illegal rice rebagging activity is not limited to Young Asian Street. At the warehouse of a popular rice depot on Ibrahim Babangida Avenue, heaps of rice grains with molds growing on them litter the ground, with some already rebagged.
There's rice that has been washed and is being dried. It's obvious that the kind of rice that we're seeing here is not fit for human consumption. We'll be looking to lock this place down, and gratefully the customs people are here. Based on their law, they know exactly what to do with a building like this.
These discoveries, according to the Consumer Protection Council, is made possible by credible intelligence reports, and more of such reports from members of the public will make the council's job easier.
Communities in the riverine areas of Delta State can now rest easy as the state governor, Ifeanyi Okowa, is set to commission various infrastructural projects in the area. The governor, who was on an inspection tour to some riverine communities, held a town hall meeting with the people to hear about their needs.
Burutu local government area can now be counted as one of the areas enjoying infrastructural development in Delta State. Those projects being spread across the local government area are being inspected by the state governor, Ifeanyi Okowa, who, flanked by state government officials, was happily received by the people.
And that is the Chief of Staff, Right Honorable.
On this particular trip, Governor Okowa is commissioning township roads and a model secondary school. Governor Okowa reiterates his commitment to the development of riverine areas.
We want to ensure that our riverine brothers and sisters are not left behind. And however, since we are constructing roads in the upland, we also felt we needed to construct roads in the riverine. And I thank God that this quality of school we are seeing in the upland, that we also have it in the riverine area.
That's just one aspect of his visit. Next is a town hall meeting, a platform for the people to raise their concerns directly.
His Excellency, please, I want you, that intent you have to do this road, to know that people are existing here. I want you to also use that intent to do a focus deep sea port. I want you to please provide good boat for the women.
The governor's final word is for the people to sustain the peace, which he believes will in turn create avenues for more development to take place.
And for some business stories, here's Anne Nwaldo.
Thanks a lot, Millicent. Welcome to Business News. The Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, and 10 non-members of the cartel today announced that they have agreed to share increased oil production. And this comes after OPEC and Russia's endorsement on a nominal output increase of 1 million barrels of crude oil per day at a meeting in Vienna yesterday. However, Saudi Arabia's Minister of Energy, Khalid Al-Falih, says the exact allocation for each country will depend on their production capacities, among other factors. A member of the World Bank Group, the International Finance Corporation, has announced $1 billion loan for Indorama LMF Fertilizer and Chemicals Limited to construct a new fertilizer line that will expand its capacity for urea fertilizer to more than 2.8 million tons. A statement signed by the bank's spokesperson, Mrs. Olufunke Olufon, says that IFC will directly lend $100 million and mobilize an additional $850 million of loan from other developmental financial institutions and commercial banks, while another $50 million in financing will be made available from the bank's managed co-lending portfolio program. And Nigeria's Debt Office has wrapped up its monthly bond auction for the second quarter of this year. The DMO will be offering a total of 60 billion naira by reopening 3 mid to long-term papers to investors. The calendar for the third quarter of the year, starting July the 1st, shows no change in total offerings by the Debt Office. But ahead of the offering, the CEO of Afrinvest Securities, Mr. Ayodeji Ebo, says that he expects investors to bid for slightly higher rates, looking yields at double digits in the medium to long term. Now let's check out Nigeria's stock market. It has ended a 4-day trading session this week deeper in the red, and that's after investors resumed for the Eid al-Fitr holiday with more profit taking. The market's main index ended the week down by 2.74% to 37,862.5, while the equities capitalization depreciated to 13.7 trillion naira. All other indices finished lower, with the exception of the insurance index that appreciated by 3.5%. The total volume of shares traded within the week is coming lower at 1.09 billion shares, worth 15.4 billion naira, and exchanged in 16,288 deals. That's business news for this week. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Anne Nwawadu. It's back to you, Millicent.
Many thanks, Anne. Still ahead on the news at 10. It's an early scare, but the 10-man team Germany survives from Sweden with a hard-fought 2-1 victory, yet still in contention for a place in the round of 16. That's some sports news. Please stay with us.